Edwin, now we're going to speak about mental health. How important is your mental health to you?
Or say, it's up there. Obviously, it impacts your life. Obviously, you want to be, in a good mindset because that kind of runs, everything else in your life.
What do you have to say to those individuals who don't think that mental health is real?
I mean, from my point of view, I guess everyone has a different experience, right? Some people are blessed, they have more, so they have less troubles in their life compared to others. I think, everyone has a different life experience, and everybody walks, a different path in their life. So I think, I don't like to judge others because I don't know what others been through. So, I think, for those people, who think like that, maybe, they haven't experienced a lot in their life, that's like bad or, depressing. But, I would definitely say it plays a point because, it varies on everyone.
What personal experience made you realize that mental health is important?
I think it was when I made the transition from like being a kid, and when you're a kid, you're kind of happy. You're always like, you always find things to do, right? And I think when you make that transition from boy to man, and you start getting into the real world, and you're like, shoot, man, like I got work, I got bills, I got responsibilities. It kind of starts weighing down on you, and you don't take care of yourself. Your mental health is gonna, get ahead of you. You're gonna start, depending on where life takes you and depending on your mindset, you might go to a really, dark, bad place you don't want to be in.
Activities do you do that promote the stability of your mental health?
I think it's obviously communicating, right? Having friends around, having family around, that's a big one, right? If you have people around you in your life that you can communicate with, you can see every so often, that's a big thing. I think if you keep yourself isolated and you keep yourself away from others, I think that's just, the worst thing you can do. I think it's like the opposite effect, right? It's just gonna get worse in terms of your mental health.
Describe the differences in your mental health pre-COVID and post-COVID.
I would say maybe like pre-COVID, and obviously it was a little bit more funner. Obviously the economy was definitely a different state of mind, I would say, in my opinion. My personal experience with COVID wasn't really that bad. I actually, I wasn't working. Obviously, most people in my area of business wasn't working, but I was still, I was still getting that check. I was still pretty comfortable, to be honest with you. It was almost like, I had a whole year of unemployment, but I was getting paid. So, and then, I was just at home, and either way, I worked from home, so it wasn't really much of a big shift, in my opinion. Obviously, afterwards, after the pandemic, obviously you saw the difference in terms of like everything went up, prices went up, the economy kind of went down. A little bit more people and more people got isolated. I especially feel bad for people who kind of like were in that mindset of like school and graduation, because like all that got thrown out the window. So they probably had like a completely different experience. COVID
Are there foods that you eat that promote your mental health?
food? Not really. I mean, there's not like a food that I go to like per se, but definitely like keeping yourself, keep yourself fit. Like I started cooking for myself, I guess you can say, like, start watching what you eat and your nutrition. A lot of the stuff, you're just gonna eat fast food every day. Like that's not good for you, obviously, and that kind of weighs on your physical body. It's gonna impact how you look, and obviously, how you look is gonna impact your mental health, right?
What is your escape place to be away from everyone else? And does that place have an effect on your mental state?
I would say there's two things. I would say I probably say I like, going out and kind of like going on my hikes, going on my walks. It kind of, in a way, I run away from my problems in a way, as a metaphor. And the other one would just be like getting in contact with friends. You can have a really bad day and then just go meet up with your boys and go do something, find something to do. Just find something that's gonna keep your mind occupied from all the other things that you're stressing about. So definitely that.
Describe your mental state when you were at your worst.
Bad, I would say. Obviously, when you're at your worst, you're kind of, in my opinion, you can have depression. You kind of think, oh, you got nothing but negative thoughts, and obviously, that impacts how you look at life. If you got negative thoughts, you get depressed, you kind of don't have much of a view on, life. Compared to, if you're happy and you're doing something for yourself, then you have a completely different perspective.
Were there times that you felt like you had a mental illness?
Um. I mean, I could definitely say like I've had times where like I'm really down and I'm really depressed, but I think that happens to everyone, right? Everyone has a spell in their life where they're just like at a low point.
Because I didn't even realize this, but anxiety is a form of mental illness.
Okay, then
Yeah.
yeah, I think I've definitely had anxiety once or twice in my life.
Yeah, but if I'm being honest, it's probably like a low level form of mental illness.
Yeah.
Yeah, compared to like borderline personality disorder
Oh
and
yeah, like bipolar and stuff like
yeah.
that, right? I don't think I have any like medical term in that sense on the on the extreme side, but just more of like you said, like anxiety and depression maybe here and then.
Have you ever had a mental breakdown?
No, thankfully no. I don't think anything like to the extreme where like I'm breaking stuff or like I'm isolating myself. Thankfully, nothing on that side.
Have you ever been around someone that had a mental illness?
No, unless they were hiding it and they didn't, you couldn't see it and it was just something that they were hiding from me. But no, I don't think I've ever been around someone, family or friends.
Because I was cool with someone that had borderline personality disorder.
Okay.
It is scary. It could be terrifying because you basically don't know when that person is gonna switch up on you. It's like you're seeing like
Mm,
different personalities, you know, and they'll spat, and then next thing you know, they'll have like a reset button, and they'll
okay.
start talking to you regularly, as if
Mm,
like the moment that just led to them crashing out never happened,
yeah. It's
and
kind of like they take their anger out on you,
hmm
and by no fault.
but then like 10 minutes later they'll talk to you normally, and it's just like yo, like you don't remember like you just spazzing out like so yeah. I don't know if that was a form of PTSD or borderline personality disorder, but it's like yeah, man,
Yeah, I mean personally, I don't think I've had anything like that like with family or friends. Maybe they had a bad day, but other than that, yeah, like you just mentioned, like PTSD or anything like that, like that I'm aware of. No, I haven't experienced.
were there ever times you look at someone in the eyes and you felt that they had something?
Oh,
Since the eyes are like doorways to the soul,
mm-hmm.
you ever felt like you just had an interaction with someone and even though you didn't know them, you just had the indication like they may just be seriously off?
I'm trying to think, and I don't, most of my friends and family, I don't think so.
Okay.
Like I mean, I think the most recent was I had a friend, and he kind of, I guess he was going through a hard time in his life, and he kind of, just reached out to me. But I don't think it was anything like, too serious. I
Okay.
think it was just he was kind of just overwhelmed with life, like, with work and his personal life, relationships and all that. But like I said, I think it's a difference between people who hide it and people who, speak out and they try to
For those hiding their anxiety or their form of mental illness, what would you say to them?
communicate. I think that's like the key, right? I don't think you get any benefits or it's not helpful if you just bottle it up. It just gets worse and worse.
Because the thing about being a man, we're taught that, like growing up, we're taught, to be a man,
Yeah, don't show your emotions.
yeah. So, in a way that builds up, anxiety and stress and, leads to
True,
depression and, so
true.
what would
But
you say to someone that just, stays true to that and just holds?
it's hard, man. It's hard because, like you said, it's kind of like an ideology that's built in most men, right? And like you said, you don't wanna look weak. But obviously, there's like a breaking point, and there's a point where like if you need the help, obviously you need to reach out. Rely on close friends and family because they're the most people you're gonna be comfortable with, and they're gonna be accepting, right? Instead of just reaching out to a complete stranger. Look out to people who you've known all your life, and they obviously have the best interest in you.
The stress in the U.S. is causing many that I know personally to seek refuge overseas. Do you see that as a possible case for you?
Definitely. If the chance came up, I would love to like live abroad if I could for work or just for my personal life. I've always wanted to maybe go and travel and live in Spain. That's definitely like a one in my on my bucket list. And obviously as well, want to go back to Mexico someday. Meet family and friends, and obviously with things here, it's not getting any better in the sense that like money wise, it's getting a little rough here now. So yeah, obviously if you can live abroad, you never know, you might even.
So would you agree that living in the US has a direct correlation with mental illness?
I wouldn't say a direct, because everybody's different, right? And obviously, you can have all those mental problems in another country, right? Because it just depends on where you're at life.
Hmm.
it definitely doesn't help with the current state that we're in. And obviously, some people might, can point to it and can be like, well, we're not the best of times, but I wouldn't call it a direct correlation.
Can technology worsen one's mental state?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look at social media. I think social media is the biggest thing at the moment. Like, it's kind of new per se, but at the same time, now we're seeing all the drawbacks, all the effects, that it can have, especially on young people, because that's really who, uses social media, are young people.
So what would you say to those that are comparing themselves to, like they're comparing their current lifestyle to what they're seeing on social media? Because in a way, that's causing a
Yeah,
form of.
yeah. I think there's like a quote that says comparison is the thief of joy, or like the thief of, life, which is very true because, especially if you're young, you're still developing, you still kind of haven't found your way, you haven't found your identity. And I think, a lot of people with influencers and all, like, you see, and a lot of it is fake. I want to say, a lot of people, though, they fake it. They only show you what they want to, what they want to let you see. So I think, obviously for young people, it's just like, don't take it too hard, or don't believe everything you see.
So is that a form of mental illness too? Like the people portraying this successful lifestyle, like they're portraying things that they want the public to see. So in a
Uh-huh.
way, are they sick themselves?
Uh-huh.
Because it's like you're portraying a facade.
Yeah.
Even if it's not a facade, you're selecting what you want
Mm-hmm.
people to see. So in a way, is that a
I guess in a way, yeah. I mean, you're kind of like hiding your true self, right? You're kind of just you're fake in a way, I guess, right? You're not really being real to yourself. You're not being real to, everyone around you. You just kind of want to see, you're kind of just displaying what you want to see.
so ultimately, are we all suffering from a form of mental illness?
I guess, yeah, it kind of just draws back to it, right? I mean, all of us kind of go through our ups and lows. All of us kind of have our bad days and our good days. That's just life.
What is the future of U.S. citizens? What is the future of their mental health as we're living in a very technological age? With AI and
It's rough, man. It's
increased
rough.
technology.
Yeah, it's rough, man. I mean, technology just moves faster than us, right? Like trends and all that, they just move faster than us. Like I said, I mean, don't take everything to heart. Learn to, disconnect. I guess you can say unplug from all the social media, all the everything around you, and come back to your senses. 'Cause I think it's us, like growing up in the '90s. I guess you could say a different generation. It was a completely different vibe. Like I didn't really stay home and like was on a phone, or maybe just the TV was probably the most,
Hmm.
technology wise. But for me, it was just more like at my time period when I was a kid, it was just go out, have fun.
Like me, for instance, I didn't have a phone until I was 18.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's a completely different generation because now
Hmm.
I have like cousins and they're like 3 or 4. They have an iPad, they have an iPhone, they're on the game. It's just like, dang man, like just I'm happy I grew up on the time I grew up because I actually experienced. I was actually a child, I was a kid
Hmm.
compared to kids now.
Like one thing I noticed being the convo guy,
Hmm.
there's times where um, if there's no conversation to make it less awkward, people just gravitate to their phones, and it's
Yeah.
just like, like, you think people could be normal if there was no technology? Let's say we wake up one day and every piece of technology was wiped.
Hmm.
Would people still be able to interact with each other?
Yeah, I think it'd be better, right? I think we'll have more of a sense of going to meet people, right? I think nowadays we have like, like let's take the dating pool for example. Now we have so many dating apps, right? We have social media, we have
Hmm.
Instagram. There's like 1,000 different ways, and I think the most you look back like 30 years ago, I think the most convenient ones be upfront, face to
Hmm.
face.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm realizing as I'm getting older. It's like the art of exchanging dialogue, the
Uh,
art of conversations is slowly becoming extinct,
yeah.
with technology. So, you know,
I think it's just being present at the moment, right?
so, I feel like for example, your passion for hiking and
Hmm.
the outdoors, it helps stabilizes your mental health because
Yeah.
it basically prevents you from joining the masses and what everyone else is doing. So,
Hmm.
you know, Edwin, thank you for this discussion.
I appreciate you having me here.